Hello everyone, welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we're going to be diving into the energy, predictions, lessons, and advice, as well as the blessings for the month of June. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back, my beautiful kindred spirits, and anyone new who may be joining us here for the very first time. It's wonderful to have you here in this kindred space. As like I said, we're going to be looking into your June blessings. I always have a lot of fun during June as it is Pride Month, and so happy Pride for everyone out there. I know this goes up a couple of days before June, but still, happy Pride anyway. I definitely have all of my readings throughout the entire year very focused on being inclusive to everyone. But definitely this month there are going to be some more fun, inclusive readings coming up, so definitely stay tuned for those. And if you would like to keep up to date on those, definitely feel free and consider subscribing to the Kindred space as I put out new readings every single Monday. But with all of that said, we're going to start looking into these piles here in just a moment. But one last thing I wanted to mention is I am cooking up some fun Pride-related offerings as well that hopefully will be up and launched for you by next week. But definitely stay tuned for those. And if not, then definitely feel free to check out the other ways to support this space through the Kindred tip jar down below, as well as the snail mail readings that I am offering. So with all of that said, all of the information on that will be down below in the description, as well as on my Instagram to stay updated, but we're going to go ahead and dive into these piles for June. So for each of the piles that we have here today, I just wanted to keep it really simple with one specific crystal. I also kept the piles quite simple with the energy and things that we pulled, as I currently have a small cold, so I was trying to make sure that I wouldn't run out of steam on my voice as we move through them. But here for pile number 1, we have Rhodonite. I always think this looks a bit like bubble gum. But yeah, there you are with Rhodonite for pile number 1. For pile number 2 here, we have this very beautiful piece of green Aventurine. So that is pile number 2. And lastly, but definitely not least, is pile number 3 with this more ribboned piece of Amethyst. So that is pile number 3. So before you start heading off to your pile, I invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here to really connect with your intuition and ground and see which pile is really calling out to you most. So let's go ahead and take a deep cleansing breath together here now. So as always, there's no right or wrong way to choose your piles. You can choose 1, 2, 3, choose a pile, flip-flop, change your mind. There really is no right or wrong way. All of the timestamps will be down below, as well as within the chapter marks of this video. And like I mentioned before, if you want to support the space even further, definitely feel free to check out the different ways to support it down below, as well as on my Instagram with snail mail readings, other offerings for Pride Month, and also the Kindred tip jar. And you can also feel free to subscribe, like, and comment. And yeah, I think that is everything. And we're going to go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you decide to choose this Rhodonite, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it down right here for you as we are going to be heading into your June predictions and blessings kind of reading. We're going to be diving into a lot of different elements here, but we're going to start in with the charms later on in the reading, as well as the watercolor affirmations. And I also have several different oracle decks, which I'll have listed with everything else down below in the description, so you can check those out. The main tarot deck that we're going to be using here today is the only tarot deck rather, is the Crystal Unicorn Tarot, one of my favorites for Pride Month. I don't know, it just gives me those pastel, happy, clear vibes. So I hope you are excited and ready to get started with me. Like I said in the intro, this might be slightly choppy because of my throat right now, but we're going to go ahead and get going into it. So if you are settled, ready to go, we'll go ahead and get started. So here we go. Feel free to send your energy in here, group 1. We're looking into the next month, or the month ahead here for June. For group 1, what energy is coming in most prevalently for group 1 here? Okay, I'm feeling, I think this one right here. Okay, so here we go. We got the Ten of Swords starting out the month. Not always the best one, but it does represent an ending, which might actually be needed. So we're going to look into what is ending possibly in this month. Or sometimes it's the Ten of Swords can look kind of scary, but at the same time, it can also showcase like this really empowering release too of energy as well. So you might be going through the ringer right now, a lot of mental thoughts, a lot that you're having to hold inside or not know what to do with some of the energy that's kind of just flowing around right now. But we're going to look a little further. So we also have the Two of Pentacles, which does talk about balance, and the Temperance energy, which is also about balance. So there's a lot of that coming in, things coming back into balance. So if this previous month felt like chaotic, or you just felt like there were a lot of things happening in either in your personal life or even like societally that has been really kind of either bringing you down or just trying to kind of interfere with your daily life, then this is sort of a showcase that's going to start to find a way to come back into like symbiosis, harmony, balance, because we also got the Two of Pentacles, which does showcase that give and take kind of energy back and forth. And this also represents flexibility, being more flexible with yourself, right? So this is like if you've ever been on like a balance beam, you have to continually kind of rebalance and redistribute your weight. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I feel like you're going to start to find that almost like your mind and body working together in this month. And then we also got here Temperance, which is another kind of energy of balance, but it also does represent like liminal spaces. So again, if you feel like things have been also maybe not moving this previous month, as in like say you're looking for a new job or you want to work on a new hobby or you want to even just something simple as like a new meal for your household or something like that, it just showcases that you're going to start getting more of that stamina. You're going to start kind of refreshing some of that. And also liminal spaces can showcase like sometimes a need for working more with that in-between space, like that flexibility that we were talking about here with the Two of Pentacles. That's an in-between space, right? It's you're walking the beam, but you're constantly being kind of pulled in one way and the other. So this can also be showcasing that within the month, you might be feeling, like I said, you have to continually recalibrate. So if there are new things that you're bringing into the equation, that means that there's more recalibrating that's going to have to occur, but I do think that it's going to be kind of refreshing for you. Like I feel like maybe you want some new energy to come in, or at least to rebalance the energy you had previously. If you're not ready for something to come in, then that might be something else of advice, which we're going to see more on as we move forward. So I think I'm going to go ahead and keep moving on for you guys. It's very, very to the point. Something's coming to an end, a mental rest even coming through, as well as that balancing message, liminal spaces, flexibility, those sorts of keywords. So now we're going to start looking into, beyond just the main three energies that we're getting through here, a blessing for the month. So you may see blessings as, there's blessings in disguise or something to be grateful for, or just an energy that's going to really like be on your side this month. That's basically what we're looking for. What is the energy that's just really on your side, a rock throughout all of this? So let's see, group one here for June. As always, feel free to send your energy in. Goodness. All right, so this is what we got. Lots falling out. I love when I say that and then all of a sudden it's just like all of your energy just floods into the cards and they just fly out. Much like this moon card, honestly. So we got the moon here. It says cycles, cleansing, and destiny. So I'll bring that up for you to see. And then that is the entire card. I love this. It always kind of reminds me of that Harry Potter scene when they're at the Dursleys and all of the mail is flying everywhere. It's kind of like taking destiny into your hands and also just taking in the opportunities that are coming at you. I feel like you're going to have opportunities that are just going to be really easy to pass by, right? But I feel like they're just going to keep coming at you until you finally do the thing. So if there's something you've also been holding out on, I feel like a big blessing too is that that's going to be coming in, that you're going to be able to actually finally take on the opportunity that's kind of just keeps falling in your lap. Like, they keep sending you mail, keep giving you the space, keep giving you chances, and this is you finally grabbing it and taking it into your hands, taking fate and destiny into your hands, making the choice to do so. So I see that as a blessing for you this month, but I also see, because we have cycles and cleansing, I'm also getting this feeling that your intuition is going to be really at the forefront this month. So really listening to your intuition, really listening to those gut feelings that you're getting throughout the month, but also the idea that like this cycle that you went through previously, this feeling that you have whenever you see this Ten of Swords, whatever it kind of is bringing you up, a mental struggle or even a physical one, just one that's just been a fight or a lot of energy expelled to kind of hold on to. This is kind of coming to an end. It's finding a new beginning. It's resting and allowing that to move through. That energy is ready to be released. And it's also allowing yourself to understand that this played a part in your life, and it does have sort of a learning lesson from it. So that's also coming through. So I feel like there's many layers to this moon card here today. So it may be more the destiny message. Maybe you're feeling more of that cleansing and letting things rest, or maybe you're feeling the cycle of just learning this time so that you don't continue this cycle. So see how that resonates for you. But we're going to move on to your next card, which I love to do here in the middle, just a quick little message here for a relationship message for the month. So this could be on all of your relationships, just as advice moving forward, but it can also be a specific one if you want to send it in for a romantic relationship, platonic, friendship, or even with a family member, yourself, spirit guides, whoever this relationship is with. We're going to get a little guidance here for the month for you. So here we go, a message here for the relationships and the energy coming here for group 1. What do we have? Okay, so we have cooperation. I don't know exactly how to say this flower, but there you are. Stephanus? I don't know. Anyway, it does say cooperation here. Take the hand offered or ask. Very interesting, because I was talking about that earlier with the moon card, right? Really taking things in and listening to the opportunities that are falling into your lap. So it may be that the opportunity that's coming through could be through a relationship in your life, some sort of networking moment, a friendship, or you even just could be, being offered something from a loved one in some way, and that might be something else to continue to think about. I'm also getting this feeling of like you finally getting on the same page, because I feel like there is, like I said, that temperance energy, that things coming back into balance. So if you feel like you haven't been on the same page with this person or people in your life recently, I do think that things are going to start to kind of balance that back out, right? I just feel like everything's just sort of, not that it's going to be in perfect balance or perfect harmony, right? There's still going to be that calibration there, but I do see you like maybe seeing the other person's point of view or them seeing your point of view, and that really creating a little bit more of that balance that you need. So that's what we have here for your relationship message, but I do want to look a little bit further. So now we're going to pull you 2 more cards, a watercolor affirmation, and then do the charms here at the end. So definitely stay tuned. But if you are enjoying this reading so far, it would be amazing if you could give this video a like. I really do appreciate it so much, and so does the algorithm for those who haven't found this video yet but might need the guidance. So thank you to everyone who has, but we're going to go ahead and look into 2 more cards here. This one is going to be a lesson you'll learn throughout the month, and then we'll also get a final advice card from Spirit. So let's see the lesson coming through here for you, group 1, for the month. Something you're going to be learning. Could even be a new skill. Who knows? Okay, I think I've got one, but gotta find it. Alright, so this one has the moon showing up here. Again, we have Blackthorn. Whenever I see this card, it makes me think of, if any of you guys read runes, it makes me think of the Hail rune. And so this is talking about working on an opportunity, having an opportunity in your hand, but continually kind of focusing on or just realizing that there's a lot of interruptions, or just being like kind of procrastinating the opportunity that you have at hand because, you know, this or this or this gets in the way. So this is like I said, you're being handed something, but something keeps interrupting you from taking it. It keeps sort of piercing through it, like we sort of was seeing here with your 10 of swords, right? Something keeps piercing through you being able to move through that opportunity. So I think something you're going to be learning this month is trusting in yourself, trusting that this cycle is ending, it's moving, it's flowing, believing that that can be a possibility for you. And then I also just see that this is also a lesson to take that opportunity, which has come up 3 different times with your card so far. So there's definitely an opportunity going to be presenting itself many times over, and it's allowing yourself to sort of just finally take the chance. So that's a lesson coming through. Definitely not going to wander too much on that one, seeing as we already talked about that quite a bit, but you're welcome to see what else comes through for you. But we're going to go ahead and pull one more, like I mentioned, of advice. So this could be advice from the universe, from yourself, from spirit, from guides, however you want to see it. So feel free to ask for that guidance if you'd like now, or pause. But we're going to go ahead and start looking for that message of advice from the universe, from higher self, from spirit, however you want to see it, or just the deck itself, and see what comes through for you for the month of June. Group 1, the month of June. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and see what you got here. So it looks like you got Birch. One of my favorite cards. It's also the card that this deck introduced itself as, so it's got such a special, renewing, rejuvenating energy to it. It is the first card in the deck, and it showcases this idea of renewal and rebirth. So, you know, at the beginning of the year, it's one of the very first trees to sort of start getting all of its nutrients and getting ready to go for the next season. It starts to be the first trees to grow back after big forest fires and things like that. It's ready to go. So my point is, the advice that's coming through is, like I said, you kind of went through your own forest fire. You've gone through quite a lot of difficulty, struggle, mental hurdles and moments. And that, I think, is still going to continue this month in terms of, like, you know, that opportunity coming through, right? It's not all going to be easy, that calibration. But I do see that the advice here is to take the rebirth, to really allow yourself to cleanse, right? We even had cleanse in this card. There is this feeling of washing things away, not because we want to forget the past or forget how things maybe went, but that we're wanting to make steps to actually better ourselves and better where you're going. So I do see that coming through for you with Birch. It also does talk about community coming in as well. There is a community element to this card, so making sure that you also maybe ask for that help. We had cooperation come in for your relationship message, so asking for help is totally okay too. You don't have to do it all on your own. So those are all of your cards here. Let's go ahead and pull you a watercolor affirmation, and then we will go into the smaller details here with the charms here in a second to close off the reading. But let's go ahead and get a watercolor affirmation. I haven't used these for a couple of readings, so I'm quite excited to see what you guys get. All right, this one was just like, it got caught on my hand. All right, so we have let go of all you cannot control. Man, is that not just like the card? I feel like it's a lesson that a lot of the people I've been doing readings for recently have been really working through. But there is this feeling of letting go of control, letting go of things that aren't within your control, and it just honestly adds more worry, stress, and anxiety to try to, you know, like push a, you know, we have a brick wall in front of us. It doesn't really help us to try to control the brick wall when we could just go around it, or we could just sit with it instead. So there is this feeling of letting go of that control and allowing yourself to be a little bit more flexible in this space, allowing a little bit more of that recalibration, being more of the like Matrix sort of character where they would do a whole backflip to get out of the way of like a bullet going through. So those are sort of the images that are coming up for me with this one. But those are all of your cards. Let's go ahead and pull you your final charms here. So feel free to send your energy in and we'll start reading on these. So let's go. Group 1, June. Okay, lots of rolling ones today. I'll go ahead and zoom you in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. But the ones that we got here down here towards the bottom, we got the letter I showing up here. So this might be an initial or just to focus on yourself this month, that kind of thing. So we have that coming up. We also have here the one that was rolling is the lantern charm. I always think it looks a bit like, like one of those holiday lanterns that you could put up or something like that. So this, it can talk about celebration, but I also see it as like creatively thinking through a problem. And so having a more creative mind does showcase that idea of flexibility showing up here again. So maybe creatively, that's how you can recalibrate. So maybe expressing your feelings of discomfort while you're trying to balance through this could be really useful to you. Thinking in a more creative, out of the box way of handling a situation, versus just going for your first idea every time. We also got a little bit of like a little moonflower here, so more of that intuitive element. We have awareness showing up here on the book. So this can be obviously breast cancer awareness. You could see this more like listening to your body's awareness. So sometimes we don't listen to our body, right? Sometimes we just listen to our thoughts and how we're feeling in that way. But our body can showcase a lot of our intuition, right? If we can listen to not only the butterflies that we get in our gut or the feelings that we get there, but also, how our hair stands on the back of our neck, or the way that we might have indigestion after a really hard time, or things like that. There's just stuff that our body is trying to tell us, and I think it's about having that communication come through as well, and maybe recording it, since you also have the book here. Other things showing up here, we have the wildflowers charm, as well as the blue heart, which usually talks about sadness or grief, sort of that 5 of Cups energy, if you know of it. And that's showing up near this cup as well. So it's making me think that like you're releasing emotions this week, or sorry, not this week, this month. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of heaviness that's just been sort of lingering around, and the wildflowers does showcase freedom. So I do see you feeling a little bit more free, a little bit more carefree. Not that you have to, like I said, this is a balance here, so it's not that you have to like release everything to feel free. They can sometimes, emotions, even like the ones that feel like they're opposite on a scale, sometimes just happen to share the same space, and that's okay too. And then the last charms we got here is the, I always see this as sort of scrying or something like that, like one of those scrying bowls or something like that. And then we also got here the blue moon charm, which I think is interesting because you did get the blue moon, which might mean that this is not a once in a lifetime, but once in a blue moon. It's going to be a while before this opportunity kind of arises again, or that you feel up to taking that opportunity again. So it does seem in this renewal, there is going to be a lot of space to really listen to your intuition again, because scrying is about your intuition, divination, sort of in that same way. Also to listen to signs that are coming through as well, because I do think those are going to be really important. But those are all of your charms and your cards here today. I hope you did enjoy and got something out of this reading. If you did, do let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear your thoughts, or DM me on Instagram. A lot of you let me know the day of or a couple days after how these resonated, and I love hearing your thoughts. Also, like I said, definitely be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much, and I truly do appreciate it. And I also do appreciate all of the tips that come through from the Kindred tip jar. It really does make a difference in this space, and I truly appreciate it. You can also check out the other ways to support this space down below for snail mail readings if that's something that you're interested in. I'm having so much fun for those, and I'm even cooking up some other offerings in the background, so definitely stay tuned for that. You can check out all of that down below and on my Instagram. I keep you all up to date there a lot. And lastly, if you haven't already, definitely feel free and consider subscribing to this space, as I put out new readings every single Monday for love, career, spirituality, these monthly readings, 2-week readings, self-empowerment, and so much more. So definitely feel free to join in on this Kindred space. And with all of that said, I hope you do enjoy the Pride Month and this month for yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 2, if you've decided to choose this piece of green Aventurine, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it down right here for your reading, as we are going to be looking into the energy, lessons, advice, and blessings coming in for you for the month of June. We're going to be doing that through the charms, the watercolor affirmations, as well as several different oracle decks, which will have all of this listed down below in the description. And we're also going to be using the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. So if you are settled and ready to go, got yourself some water or some tea or a cozy blanket or whatever you feel to get cozy and comfy for this, then we're going to go ahead and get started. I definitely have my water nearby, as I mentioned in the intro. Definitely got a small sore throat here, so I might be having some weird choppy edits, so definitely forgive me for those. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started here, so feel free to send your energy in through time and space. And let's go. Group 2, what do you have coming in for the main energies coming in for the month of June? The main energies for the month of June for group 2 here. Okay, so first off, we have the Hanged One, or the Hanged Unicorn in this case. And this one is all about seeing from a new perspective or slowing yourself down purposefully and for a reason. But we're going to see a little bit more about that here in a moment. So group 2, what else do you have coming in here with this Hanged Unicorn? Okay, definitely one more, or do we have 2? No, okay, let's look for one more card. There we go. All right, let's see what we have here. So the first one to fall out was the Page of Pentacles. Really lovely. I love this card. And then we also have here, and it's almost like I almost see them like working together here. And then we have the 8 of Swords in this case as well, that flew out here at the end. So what I'm seeing right off the bat is a feeling of wanting to move forward on a new project or an adventure or skill in your life in some way. These could be all sorts of things, like a hobby, a skill, a job, career, new family, new space, a vacation, whatever it may be. You're wanting to hold it up and really put it to focus, put it out into the universe. You want to move from it being a dream or something that you've had in your mind and actually put it to reality. Make it known that this is something you're after. But there is a bit of a hesitancy here, because you also got the 8 of Swords. And the 8 of Swords showcases, as you can see, sort of a blindfolded, held back unicorn here, or figure, which represents you feeling a little bit hesitant, feeling a little tied up about it, a little knotted up in your stomach, like should I not, am I ready, am I not, do I have everything, I don't know, or possibly also just trying to people please other people's opinions and thoughts about what you want to start venturing into, right? Sometimes we have a kind of a brick wall that we make inside our heads about how other people might perceive it, even if they haven't even made a judgment yet. Sometimes we just assume what their judgment will be, and based off of that we then don't move forward because of a perceived judgment. As I mentioned earlier, the Hanged Unicorn, or the Hanged One, does talk a lot about sort of slowing things down, or usually it's purposefully slowing things down, right? Sometimes it's the universe or circumstance, but in this case I feel like you are kind of like putting the brakes on this. Every time it starts to get started, or every time you allow yourself to think like, well, maybe I actually could do that, and then it's like you pump on the brakes. So what I'm thinking is that obviously this is the energy that's coming through for you for this month. So there is going to be this kind of back and forth energy. Should I start? Should I not start? Should I start? Not start? So in that, you get the Hanged One, which is all about, one, rethinking the situation. So right now, the advice coming through just from these cards in general is to maybe rethink the situation, because there might be a new perspective that you hadn't realized before. And maybe by taking this time to sort of sort through it, you realize that maybe they won't make those judgments, or you realize that maybe it doesn't even matter if they make those judgments. I want to do it anyway, you know? So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that you're taking your time, but I do think it's going to start to become stagnant or stale for you over time. And I think, like I said, this Hanged Unicorn's still continuing to look over here, and it almost looks like this Page of Pentacles is like almost wanting to hand it over. So I do think you're getting closer every time you allow yourself to finally think that this might be this might be possible, I think you're getting closer every time. So I think before the end of the month, like I said, you might still hold yourself back, but I think by the end of the month, you're going to be closer than you started for sure, if not having made this first couple of steps forward on whatever this project or new idea or skill or whatever it is that you might be feeling held back on, and have it move forward. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and move on to your next couple of cards. So first, we're going to look into a blessing for the month. So for this, it basically is like an energy that's going to be in your favor for the month, an energy that's going to be like, yes, that's what I need, and it's actually going to come to you. So what is that energy coming through for you? What is the energy or blessing or something that you're just going to be so grateful for the month of June? Group 2. Wow, that one just flew past my entire arm. All right, let's see what it is. All right, so you got the Seer. This one's a very kind of different card than I was expecting. So you have intuition, divination, and foresight. So it could be that something within this reading itself is going to be really useful to you, possibly something that you're intuitively going to pick up. So it could be something that I bring up, obviously, but it can also, like I said, you might see this unicorn or the way that their cape is, or these little flowers at the bottom, the way that they're standing, things like that. Something even in the ink blots here. I just feel like there's something visually, auditorily, and especially with these charms in a bit that could really spike your intuition in a way that is going to end up being very like useful to you as the month goes on. But also just in general, your intuition, definitely listen to it. That came up in group 1 as well. Listen to your intuition this month. It has things, it has your back, it's ready to help you along. So definitely listen to what comes through, because it's really easy to just, especially in this space where you're kind of possibly a little bit anxious or worried, to kind of brush it off as anxiousness or to brush it off as something other than that. But I do think it's here to help you. So really listen to your body, listen to the signs, listen to those signals that you're getting, and see what comes through there. And I think that's actually going to end up being more useful than you think. Oh, and then the last thing I also wanted to say about foresight here at the bottom is that because you do have that anxious anxiety kind of feeling that's at least coming through within these cards, about like the judgments and things, and maybe you're even thinking a little bit too far ahead, and so maybe the intuition is thinking in the moment, that's how my gut is feeling, versus thinking how you might feel or how someone else might feel in the future. It's possibly that worry or that stress that you're putting on yourself to think too far ahead is going to be a little bit too much for you. So really thinking in the moment is going to be more useful to you. So yeah, let's keep on moving. So I'm going to take a second here, and before we move on to your lesson and advice card, we're actually going to pull you a quick card here that I love to do for you on a relationship message and advice coming through for June. So this could be any kind of relationship that you're looking into, one with spirit, with yourself, with a family member, a romantic relationship, a friendship, however you see it. Or just in general, your relationships. But we're going to go ahead and see a message here for you on that relationship or relationships for advice for group 2 here. Advice for a relationship for group 2 moving forward for the month of June. So I ended up pulling out 2 here. Let me set this down. And we got 2 very interesting ones. I actually kind of like how these sort of line up. But we got here desire, be certain of where you place your passion, and then longevity, plan for and take the dedicated path. So we were already talking a bit about possibly having a lot of ideas about how someone might react to the things that you're wanting to pursue, the desires that you have in life, moving forward for this month. So be certain where you place your passion is making me think, if this is a relationship message, make sure the people that you're talking to are ones of support. If you feel like they're not, then maybe they're not worth your time, worth your passions, worth your energy to even listen to their judgments and thoughts and opinions, because at the end of the day, all that matters are your desires and if you want to take them on or not. And then the other thing too is longevity. Plan for and take the dedicated path. That might be a very specific message to some of you, is just like making plans with friends or family members or something like that, and really sticking to it or sticking to promises that you've had with them. It's also giving me this feeling too of making sure to reach out as well and not kind of wait for them, not play like the long haul kind of feeling, or feeling like you have to do that cat and mouse sort of thing, and just being straightforward is also what I'm getting to for a relationship message coming through as well, because like I said, you have a lot of energy of like waiting things out. So yes, longevity could be useful, but I'm also getting this feeling of like really taking action as well, if it feels like it's just sitting there and becoming stagnant. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to your lesson and advice card with the Seed and Sickle Oracle here. But if you are enjoying this reading so far, definitely be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much, and I appreciate it so much. So thank you to everyone who just had or already did at the beginning of the reading. But we're going to go ahead and pull these, and later we'll go into your affirmation and your charm, so definitely stay tuned for those. But let's see, first off, a message of a lesson that you'll be learning for the month of June, for group 2, month of June, a lesson. Okay, so we got Moonwort. So what I really love about Moonwort is the plant itself, and when I was reading up and learning about it through this deck, it's so interesting, but this plant can actually sort of break through metal like iron. It can break through locks and through keys, and would even sort of break through and break down the like horseshoes on horses and stuff that would run through it. So I think that's really interesting that it can then kind of unpick any lock. It can pick any lock. It can unlock something for you. So seeing as this is a lesson, it's making me think that the lesson you're going to be learning is that you have the ability to unlock this for yourself. And as we can see, the things that we have showing up here that need unlocking is that idea to be able, what's kind of holding you back and shackling you in, you're going to be able to actually work through that. And that's a lesson that you're going to be learning, is how to work through that. What is going to be that key for you? What is this plant for you? What is the thing that is the weakness to this iron? Because a lot of us would look at a lock and think, oh, how am I supposed to break this? But if we get creative, if we think a little bit more from a different point of view, then we might be able to realize we have tools and people in our corner that can make this happen, if we sort of employ it or have agency to do so. So that's Moonwort for you, but let's go ahead and move on to your next card here for the advice coming through from Spirit. So this could be Spirit, the universe, from the cards themselves, from your higher self, however you want to see it. Definitely feel free to pause if you'd like to sort of bring that energy forward. But let's go ahead and see the advice coming through from Spirit or the universe for you. Group 2, the advice coming through for the month of June. Okay, so we got Thistle, very, very on point. Thistle is one of those sorts of plants that love to get a little thorn in your foot. It's a thorn in your side. It's, it can be a very beautiful plant and a very useful plant, but it also, like I said, if you're not looking out for it, you're going to get like a little thorn or a thistle in your foot. And this is about making sure that you don't keep just walking on that thistle, just keep walking and walking on it and letting it get infected and fester. This is about really taking the time to get that splinter out, to get that, whatever is bothering you in your life, that sensation, the things that are holding you back, whatever it is, to release that from you. And that means you have to directly take it either head on, or ask for that help. But it also can just be that you give yourself the space to realize that you were even hurt in the first place, that you were even going through something in the first place, because sometimes we just keep moving and moving and moving and moving through life, that when we stop, that's when we realize how much we've been carrying, how much we've been sort of hurting ourselves through, or hurtling through rather. And at that point, it's a much bigger problem. So this is taking the time this month to realize when you have an uncomfortable feeling, instead of sort of pushing it away or doing something cathartic to get rid of it, it's really sitting with that feeling, trying to actually understand that feeling, and not putting shame on that feeling or guilt on that feeling, because our feelings are very much not under our control. We just have feelings, but the way that we express or move through the behaviors that happen because of those feelings are in our control. So how do you want to actually take time to realize that you have a thorn in your foot and realize that it's there and understand how it happened, because that's going to be more valuable to you in the future than you think. So those are all of your cards here, but let's go ahead and get your final one with a watercolor affirmation. I haven't been using these recently in my readings as much, so I'm really excited to pull you one here today. So let's see, group 2, an affirmation for group 2 for the month of June. Okay, so it looks like you got... Oh, we got what if. Perfect for you. So this can be something you can write down. It's just reminding yourself that we can look at what if, and a lot of the time we think about the negative side of what if. Like, what if things don't work out? What if, this person sees this and doesn't like it? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever it may be. I won't put them in your head. But it's about allowing yourself to at least, entertain the idea of what if it did work out? What if it was something I can have? What if I do have the ability to unlock it? What if I, whatever it may be, just allowing yourself to see both sides, and maybe sometimes choosing the other side. So that's what we have here for what if, but we're going to keep moving. So let's see your final little bits and bobs details here with the charms. So feel free to send your energy in, and we are going to look into your charms for June. So here we go, group 2, June. Okay, not too many here. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in so you can see a little bit further. There's nothing that you're not seeing here. So let's go ahead and dive into them. So we didn't get too many here. I think we only got 3 charms. So we have here right under your seer with intuition, divination, and foresight, right here on the edge of the book, kind of between... both is showcasing the number 3, which represents creativity. So thinking about something, thinking a little out of the box, thinking about something from multiple points of view. And the idea that you got that on your intuitive or foresight is making me think that it's like thinking more creatively about your situation and allowing yourself to, again, entertain more than one point of view. The other thing that we have here on Moonwort, a lesson that you'll be learning, is maybe something that you're going to be unlocking is more than just what we've already talked about here, but something that maybe happened in the past, or allowing yourself, like I said, with that thistle, there might be something that's just bubbling back up to the surface and you're realizing that you had a thorn in your foot this whole time. So there are sometimes we just sort of cope through things, and then afterwards we realize, okay, that actually did have a little bit of an effect on me, right? So this might be something that you're working through at this time too, because it can also showcase unlocking things that we weren't expecting from within as well as without. So like I said, we have the history channel charm here, which talks about history or looking to the past in some way. So it also says 1776 in case those numbers resonate for you, as well as the number 15 and 37. I don't know if I said that earlier. The last charm that we got over here on your hanged unicorn is the sort of lighter, innocent, sort of even friendship rose. So it can be that a friend wants to help you gain more of this new perspective or to give you more of that what if feeling. But I also have this feeling of just sort of allowing things to come back to a more pure state, or allowing things to... like I said, sometimes we have something that we're so excited about, and from the purest form, right? Like just that dream, that little desire, that little thing, that's the purest form. But then when you look at the next ring and all the complexities that keep growing and growing around it, it can be hard to look back at like the reason why you ever wanted to start in the first place. So this can be showcasing more of that reason, and starting back to those beginning reasons might be more useful to you, especially when seeing that new perspective that might come through. So yeah, wow, lots here. Like I said earlier, definitely feel free to see like maybe the eagle means something to you, or other sorts of hits and signals that are coming through for you with that seer card. I think it could be really useful to you. But if you did enjoy this reading, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I truly love to hear your thoughts, even if it's just to let me know that it resonated. I love to hear. Also, definitely be sure to give this video a like. It does help the channel, and as I mentioned earlier, so thank you. And if you'd like to as well, definitely feel free to check out the different ways you can support this space. I have lots of new things that are going to be coming up here soon that I've been kind of working on behind the scenes. So you can check out all of that down below and on my Instagram to keep up to date on that. But I have my Kindred tip jar right now, as well as these snail mail readings for you to check out for June. And also, if you'd like to subscribe to this channel, you definitely can do that as well. So you can join this Kindred Spirit community as I put out new readings every single Monday for love, career, spirituality, and so much more that I'm so excited to cook up here for Pride Month. So thank you so much for everyone being here, for supporting this space, supporting yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hello Group 3, if you decide to choose this piece of amethyst, then this is the pile for you for your reading here on June and all of the energy, lessons, advice, and blessings coming through for you for this month. We're going to be looking at that through the charms as well as the watercolor affirmations. We're also going to be playing around with several different oracle decks, which I'll have all of this listed in the description down below. And we're also going to be looking into it using the tarot deck of choice today, which is the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. Perfect for Pride Month. So I hope you guys enjoy today with this reading. Like I said, I am definitely losing my voice a little bit here by the third pile, so thank you for all the patience through the weird edits that I might have throughout it. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started, so feel free to send your energy in through time and space as always. Feel free to get settled and ready to go, and we're gonna get started here. So Group 3, the energy, the main energy coming through to you for the month of June. What is the month of June have in store for you? Group 3. The cards are very bendy today. I'm getting like a flexible message. But let's see. I don't think these are all of your 3. But then I was trying to pull them all out, and I think they're all there. So let's just find out. Let's see what there is under there. Sometimes that happens. So we're going to see. Okay, so you have the Ace of Wands. You also have here the Death card, and then the Star card. Really different energies here. Definitely a rebirth, renewal energy. Very similar to pile number 1, but slightly different. So if you couldn't choose between this pile or pile number 1, definitely check out both or swap if you'd like to. But yeah, this is what we've got going on. The Ace of Wands, the Death card, and the Star. Okay, so what I'm getting right off the bat is, like I said, this feeling of renewal because of something coming to an end. There is change at the forefront of this entire pile, this feeling of change, and I feel like it's things that you had outside of your control. It wasn't something that you were maybe ready for change or ready for something to come to the end. There is a bittersweet feeling to this card. Or these 2 cards together showing up. But yeah, the Death card does showcase, like as you can see, I mean, there is this bittersweet grief feeling that comes with the death period. So it could be something in your life within this next month that's just sort of coming to an end, that you're wrapping up those loose ends, or just that you know, like you're moving from one job to the next, or you're moving from one relationship to the next, or just some sort of transition, a change, a flip of the switch. And that can be a little bit scary. There can be this feeling of that like grief or a small like transitional period for you. But then we also have the Star, which showcases renewal, rebirth, also hope. And it also can represent too to look for guidance from the universe, that it's looking out for you. And I felt like that was really important for some of you to hear that. But especially if you're feeling a little bit down about whatever this is and feeling a little bit like lost in it, I do think that there is still this, if you are more spiritual or religious, I do think that there's something still there looking after you. And like I said, that may not resonate for everyone, but I felt like it was really specific to say. But what I like here is with the Death card, we have the Sun, which is a star showing up here in the card. A rebirth coming in, a reminder that a new day will still come. And that's where that bittersweet part comes in, right? Sometimes we we want to revel in the grief, and we want to process it, and that's totally cool, but the next day will also still come. And I think in some ways you might be feeling a little bit like annoyed by that, right? Like sometimes we're not ready for it. Like I said, it's outside of your control, so you might not be ready for it. But I do think that this entire process is still going to kind of keep you on your toes and keep inspiring you, because we also have the Ace of Wands, which is a new opportunity coming in. So maybe at the beginning of the month, you're sort of still going through this grief period, letting things rest, this bittersweet moment. And then at the same time, and sometimes, you know, we can have grief and weird emotions. Not that they're weird, but the combination of grief and excitement, or grief and, you know, inspiration, is such a weird, strange combo for, you know, how we typically see things. But I think that sometimes we need to express our grief, or express it in a creative way, and you're getting a creative outlet coming through here with the Ace of Wands. So I do see a creative side of you, or problem solving and thinking through the situation from a new, refreshed point of view. The star also showcases vulnerability and being sort of more open about how you're feeling, so that's coming up too. Hopefully this isn't too vague. Like I said, I feel like it's going so many different like there's so many different ways in which it's trying to like launch here. Like I said, I feel like there's very specific ones, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't, definitely with this one. If it's more about the rebirth and renewal, feel free to really lock on and latch onto that. If you feel like it's more about this creative new beginning on its way in, latch onto that. If it's the grief, latch onto that. See what comes through for you. Because I do think it's one of those piles that just feels very like divided between your guys' energy. So let's go ahead and continue moving forward. So now we're going to look into a blessing for the month, and seeing as you have all of this different kind of energy coming through, this might center a little bit of it. So this is a blessing. It can also be something that you're just going to be really grateful for, an energy that's just going to be on your side, like your cheerleader for the month. So let's go ahead and see what's coming through for you for group 3 for the month of June. A blessing for the month of June for group 3 here. What is coming through here for group 3? Definitely feel free, as always, to send your energy in, and we will see. Okay, so, all right, so we got the waters, which just is reminding me of the star card, and I'll bring it up once again, but it's definitely reminding me of that star card of letting your emotions really flow. Giving them space this month is going to be such a blessing for you. I think that's going to be really refreshing and rejuvenating and useful. And we have relief, rejuvenation, and rest showing up here with the waters. So, of course, like I said, that rejuvenating feeling, that feeling of really allowing everything to flow and getting it out of your system is going to be really important for you. Maybe that's through expressing your emotions, or maybe that's through like watercolor or things like that. It even came up for a very specific few of you. But what I just noticed in all of these cards is that the star is sort of at the forefront of it. A lot of emotion, a lot of renewal, a lot of hope. And then you can see here, there's one more water element showing up here, as well as a little trickle here. So I do think that there is this feeling of kind of starting the month with a lot of emotion, maybe even a lot of hope as well, or excitement, and then there just is something that just sort of kind of cuts that off, but then you kind of revamp it, you kind of come back into it. So I do think that there's going to be sort of a back and forth of energy this month, and maybe that's why it's feeling a little ping-pongy here. But the point is to continue to follow that flow of water, follow what is filling your cup, what is making you feel fulfilled, restful, and rejuvenated, and those are going to be things to be grateful for this month and continue to follow. Your emotions are definitely something that are valid and should be expressed and explored throughout the month, and I think that that's something that you should allow yourself, some patience with yourself and time with yourself to do so. So let's go ahead and move on to your next card. So before we move into your lesson and advice, as well as your affirmation and charms, we're going to move on to a relationship message for the month. I love to do these as just like a little small intersection here. So this could be on a romantic relationship, platonic, a friendship, a family member, a spiritual guidance sort of message, or even a message about your relationship with yourself or your feelings. So feel free to take this whatever way you would like, but feel free to send that energy in first. So here we go. Group 3 here. Message for group 3 for their relationships. Okay. So, like I said, there is this feeling of grief, a heavier feeling that's coming through with this pile for a few of you. Like I said, it's not always the same for everyone, but we did get Forget-Me-Not, which makes me think maybe there could be even like this feeling of like remembering someone a lot this month that you aren't in contact with anymore, or has recently passed, or even within years. It might just be like a certain day that reminds you of them, or something like that just keeps coming up. And this is just a reminder to, again, allow those feelings to come in. It's not a bad thing that you're feeling something around this, especially if it's specific to a specific relationship within your life, although it could be romantic. But it says memories and the past hold the key. So that's what's showing up here. I think this is interesting as well, especially if you watched pile 2 with Moonwort. Just a little reminder there. But we're going to look into your next 2 cards and see what you get for pile number 3. So for these, we're going to be looking into, like I said, a card on a lesson you're going to be moving through for the month, as well as advice from Spirit. But if you're enjoying this reading so far, definitely be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much. I truly, truly do appreciate it. And we're also going to be moving on to those watercolor affirmations and charms, so stay tuned for that. So let's see here, group 3, what do you have coming in for a lesson you'll be learning and moving through for the month of June for group 3 here? The month of June for group 3. A lesson. Okay. Getting some, and I'm kind of feeling this Asphodel card the most, so that's the one I'm going to take here. But you also got Elder in case that imagery resonates with you in any way. But we have Asphodel, which is a very intuitive message. All 3 of the piles had a lot to do with intuition. But it says here 30 Asphodel, and this is a very fragrant plant. So it's one that you really do smell when you come across it. It's very within your senses, right? You can really feel it, smell it, sense it. There's a lot coming through. So I think that a lesson you're going to be learning is, like I said, sensing and feeling your emotions, sensing when they come up and what they mean, versus sort of pushing them away. So this is like the equivalent of smelling a rose or walking past it, and it's allowing yourself to really sit with what you're feeling, sit with what you're smelling, you're sensing, your body is even sensing, what you're hearing and listening to, and how those things are affecting and pulling at your heartstrings, and in what ways and why. So it's really working through the whole, looking at it from the whole perspective versus just, I feel this and I don't want to feel it anymore. You know what I mean? So this is allowing those to flow, which has been coming up with all of your different cards here. It also can be, if you're looking for more of that creative element too, and that watercolor element, this can also be just bringing in more elements within your senses for your art or your creativity, as a lesson you'll be learning through as well, and even a skill you might be picking up. But we're going to go ahead and pull your final card here before your affirmation and charms, and this is for advice from Spirit. So you are welcome to pause this video, take a second, and really call in any guides or anyone you would like to for this message. But we're going to go ahead and start looking into advice coming through from Spirit, the universe, your guides, your higher self, the cards themselves, for advice moving forward with this month of June. The month of June, advice, group 3. Okay, so we got Apple, which is one of the last cards in the entire deck. It does showcase, sometimes it showcases like endings, like we are already getting here, but it can also showcase that this is sort of a there might be just something that's kind of interrupting your path or trying to slow you down a little bit, or that you think that they're interrupting like your feelings or something like that, but really it's something that can be like quite healthy for you and quite useful to you. The other thing that I see too with the apple, and this is within the winter suit, it's 53 as well, and this is sort of a reminder that there are naturally occurring endings and naturally occurring beginnings that come into our lives as well, and that with every ending there's also a beginning. There is that sunlight on its way in, there is that rebirth on its way in as well. So even though you feel like this may be an interruption, it may be something that's going to take a lot to process, there also is the advice to just remind yourself that there are going to be apples the next year. There's going to be new blooms that are going to come into your life, new people, new places, new experiences that you'll still get to dive into. And like I said at the beginning, some of you might be feeling very bittersweet or maybe even annoyed by that message at this time, but I feel like by the end of the month you're going to be feeling a little bit different about it. So it just might be something to keep in mind, of just that reminder that there's a lot of natural endings and beginnings in life itself. Within nature especially has been a really good teacher for a lot of us, of just seeing the natural cycles of through winter and then through all of the seasons. So sometimes just seeing that and realizing that it happens all around us and is a very natural thing can be useful as well, and can give us a lot of comfort. So it might just be to lean into that as advice and realize that might be something you need as you move through the month. So those are all of your cards here, but I do want to pull you a watercolor affirmation before we move to the charms. So let's see what comes in for you, group 3. An affirmation for group 3. This might be something you write down in your planner or just keep with you, tuck in a space. Okay, so interesting that you got, with all of this, an ending is the turn the page as well as refresh your space. So this is the refresh button. This is the moving forward button. And like I said, I think some of you are still very bittersweet about that. I'm definitely getting that. I feel like some of you are rolling your eyes at the screen or have already clicked off because you just don't want to hear it. And I understand that. I totally have been in that place. But some of you might be ready to refresh that. Maybe that's because this is something that happened in the month previous, and this is just sort of recapping it and reminding you that you have that new beginning on its way in, that you have new opportunities that are still right in front of you, new opportunities to explore, and new pages to start writing in your story. So I love that. I'm going to go ahead and put those here, and we're going to do your final bits to the reading for your bits and bobs little details, and we'll cast them right onto the right onto the cards rather. So feel free to send your energy in, and we'll start looking here for you, group 3, for June. I think I dropped it. We'll keep going. Okay, so there we go. So here we are all zoomed in. There really aren't too many here. It's interesting that you are getting some of the same charms that the other piles got as well. Here on your waters charm with the rejuvenation, rest, and sort of that reflection element, we have the awareness charm. This is a breast cancer awareness, but in this case it's coming out more silver, so that might resonate for some of you. But what I'm getting is just being aware of your emotions, being aware of what is cycling through you, and aware of where you need rest this month. It definitely isn't a month about too much happening and a lot more about processing and reflection. So that's coming in for awareness. But you also got the wrench charm on the asphodel charm or asphodel card about your lessons with listening to those senses and elements and really taking that time to do so. And this is like putting a wrench in it. So it makes me think that you're like, trying to just put a wrench in it, call it a day and get it done. But I do think that, like I said, this is going to be a harder lesson than you think if you go at it from a perspective of just throwing some duct tape on it and moving on. This is sort of like making sure that you really sit with that. And that came up with a lot of the different piles. So like I said, if this isn't fully resonating, definitely feel free to check out pile 1 or 2, but it does seem like you are capable and you're going to learn that you're more capable than you think. with the tools that you have to process these emotions. The other thing, and the last charm that we got here, is Between the Death and Rejuvenation card of the Star, and it showed up as the Neptune charm. So I always see this as really sitting in your feelings, your emotions, but also in your dreams and desires. That comes up, this kind of has sort of Pisces energy, or this feeling of diving deeper than you thought. So there is something here about sort of having to dive a lot deeper, and there's that water element that's coming through with all of the cards. So again, that threading through of that water. However you see water, the water element to yourself is going to be really useful to how you process and move through this energy this month. Maybe that's through taking baths or showers or cleansing yourself like physically, but it can also be through sitting in the rain or allowing yourself to really dive a little bit deeper in a more creative way. So those are all of your charms and cards. A very different kind of pile here for you. Like I said, there's a lot of threading through elements, but I feel like there's ones that are very specific to some of you. So it was a very ping pong kind of pile, and I hope you did still find what you needed through it. If you did, definitely be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear your thoughts. Also, be sure to give this video a like if you really did enjoy this reading or got something out of it. I truly do appreciate it. And also, if you would like to check out different ways to continue on your journey and support this space as well as yourself, you can check out the snail mail readings that I have on my Instagram down below, as well as all the other offerings that I provide. And you can also check out the Kindred tip jar down below as well. It's a great way for me to gather new supplies and charms and things like that for this space. So thank you to everyone who has utilized those different ways to support this community. And also, if you'd like to be a part of this community, this Kindred space, then definitely feel free and consider subscribing, as I put out new readings every single Monday for love, career, spirituality, your own self-growth and empowerment. Also timely readings like these for 2-week readings and monthly readings. So lots to check out. Definitely feel free to subscribe, check out my Instagram, like, comment, all that kind of stuff, and support this space. And I think that is everything. I'm wishing you such a wonderful month. Happy Pride Month as well. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.